What's going on, peeps? We are back in the building for another G's Journal. And of course, we're going to be taking a look at Liverpool versus Athletic Bilbao or Athletic Club, whatever you want to call them. So obviously, Liverpool played a double header. I think the first game kicked off at 5, and then the second game, which had the, would I say, quote unquote, first team, that was in at 8 p.m. So I'm not necessarily going to focus on both games, so to speak. So there was only 2 players that I kind of picked out from both games. I said it would be a lot easier for me to kind of rap about a couple of little bits. So we'll go through the first game first and foremost, because that was the early kickoff. Now, we were all a little bit confused because I thought that they were going to put out, you know, a relatively strong team for that first game, but he went with the B team / C team, whatever you kind of want to call it. Obviously, we'll take a look at the lineup and things like that. But one of the players, of course, on show in that first game was Rio On. Talented young individual. Yeah, he was just, from what I saw anyway, he looked like, yeah, like there's nothing seems to necessarily phase him. And I think that's what I like the most about watching him play, is that he doesn't look like a player who, you know, anything's going to kind of, you know, get into his head, or even just the way he plays. It just looks like he's, yeah, I'm playing in the park with my boys. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of football. And I think we have never really had that someone player, you know, in our academy, or, you know, in our under 21s or anything like that. We've never really had that kind of guy. Curtis Jones will probably be the only one I can think of. Players who can just play off the cuff. You know, players who don't necessarily need to be tied down or regimented to like one style or system. You know, Rio looks like one of those kind of players. Now, of course, how you then integrate into that first team remains to be seen. And Arne Slot is, you know, he's got a job on his hands to try and sort that out and, you know, nurture that development. Of course, we've got someone like Cody Gakpo in front of him already. So will that potentially hamper? We know that Liverpool are potentially looking for another attacker, potentially in that left wing position as well. Who knows? I don't really know how, you know, Slot's going to kind of work it. But I do know when it does come to talents like Rio, you need to just let them play. That's all I can really say. I get it. I know some people feel like, you know, he's not really ready and blah, blah, blah. I get all of that. But the reality is there's never a right time to do something. There's just the time. And if it works, then it was the right time. You know, you make your own luck, you know, that kind of vibe. So, yeah, Rio in itself, I wanted to just quickly take a look at, you know, his game. And I just felt like he just looked like someone who, you know, he just looked like he was on job from minute go, if I'm being totally honest with you. I mean, scoring in the first 5 minutes or whatever it is, and then of course getting himself I think he got himself an assist as well. So, you know, all round, he had a really, really good game. So this was the lineup that Liverpool obviously used for that first game. And you guys can see already, as I said, it was a little bit like, whoa, you had Woodman, Stevenson, Inyoni, and Robertson. You can tell Liverpool need a centre-back. Tsimikas was obviously playing left-back. In midfield, you had the 3 of Elliott, Jones, McAllister. And then up front, you had Ben Doak with Darwin Núñez and Rio and Gamoa on that left-hand side. Ben Doak, again, another player who, you know, I like Ben Doak. I actually like Ben Doak. I do feel sorry for him because with Rio, it's, again, sometimes you can just be lucky. You can actually just be lucky. When there's a player in front of you and you're a young 15, 16, 17-year-old, right? And there's a player who's in front of you. The reality is, unless the player's like Mo Salah or them kind of players, right? Or Bukayo Saka, where they're already of this like stupid kind of level, you could be lucky. And like Ben, like a Rio, he's in a position where it's only Cody Gakpo in front of him right now. And obviously Liverpool haven't signed anybody, but as of today, there's only Cody Gakpo there. So it's not like he's competing with the best of the best. With no disrespect to Gakpo, but you ain't the best of the best. You know, he ain't Mo Salah. Where Ben Doak has got Mo Salah on that side. Now we can keep doing that. Yeah, but he's got 2 years. Yeah, that's great. But is Ben Doak going to just sit around for 2 years, wait for Mo Salah to decide that, yeah, you know what, now's about time that, you know, I'm going to be on my merry way, and then we can go from there. That's 2 years of your life just gone, just waiting around. And there's no guarantee that you're even going to still be good in that time. Rio, luckily, he plays in a position where you've just let one of the left wingers go. So it was already tough because you had 2 left wingers in front of you. Where was he going to get the game time, etc., etc.? Now that there's only one, and that one isn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like it's going to be that difficult for him to, well, it shouldn't be that difficult unless Gakpo, of course, takes his game you know, to a whole new level. But yeah, man, he's you know what I mean, the low socks, you know what I mean, looking kind of decent in the kit as well. New, you know what I'm saying, got his hair done for the game. Yeah, I see you, my boy. I see you, man. He was good. He was good. And like I said, on that left-hand side, the way that he just seems so fearless, the way that he just seems like, you know, he doesn't really care who's up in front of him. You know, it really doesn't matter whether you're a seasoned professional, whether this is your first game. It really doesn't matter, because I'm coming at you same way. And to be honest, there's not really much you can necessarily do about it, if I'm being, you know, 100% honest. And I just think that, obviously, of course, he's still got things he needs to improve upon. I still think the end product is something that will come with time. His decision making is actually really good at the moment. It can be better, of course. And I think, again, it's just one of those experience time. When you've not really experienced certain situations, it's going to be difficult in how you actually, you know, how you actually are in those situations when the time actually comes. And at the moment, you can still see there's little bits when in the decision making, sometimes in that second half, you know, holding on to the ball for a bit too long, you know, dribbling down blind alley. Like sometimes it just wasn't really working. And it's like, we get it, because this is what you're really good at, which is the dribbling, which is the 1v1s against defenders, against the opposition, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you're also a player who he seemed like he's got a bit of pace about him as well. I think he'll get quicker with time. I think that will be something that he may potentially start focusing on, is more the physical attributes more than anything, because the touches, the dribbling, he's got that down to a T. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's going to be more the physical side. Now, how that then works with his development, I don't really know. But obviously, that will, of course, you know, remain to be seen. But yeah, as I say, man, listen, look, 26 touches in a game. He had an 88% passing accuracy. He only misplaced 2 passes, 1 key pass in the game. Ground rules, maybe he needs to work on that a little bit more. Lost possession 8 times and was fouled twice in the game. So listen, in terms of numbers wise, yeah, it was calm, nothing great, like nothing too crazy. But I just liked what he was bringing to the team. I'll be honest with you. That was more my thing. It was the vibe that he was kind of bringing, the kind of energy he was bringing, you know, to the game in itself. The crowd, every 2 seconds, every time this brother touched the ball, the crowd were just like, yo, yo, yo. It was crazy. It was actually kind of mad. And yeah, I liked it. I fucked with it. And like I said, Rio is definitely a player, I think, for the future. How Arne Slot obviously beds him in, I don't really know. And I don't really know how that works moving forward. But I do think it's going to be something that he's going to need to take a look at quite a lot, you know, looking in or heading into the season, especially if we stay with this attack that we've got currently. Yeah, I feel like Rio's going to need that game time soon. I actually think, and I don't know when he turned 17, but in my, or when he, yeah, is he 17 already? Can't remember actually. Is he 16 or 17? Whatever. Either way, I think it will get to January, and we'll see how many games he's played by January. I think if he hasn't played that many games by January, I think they're going to be looking at loan moves somewhere. Where, I don't know, but they're definitely going to have to be looking at that, just because I think he's played enough of this under 21s, this and bro. I feel like after a while, if you're already better than that, I feel like go out and play some games, man. Because there's no point just sticking around in there. We've seen it with so many players, the man like Eddie Nketiah banging goals in under 21s for fun. You know what I'm saying? Doing it for England as well, under 21s record holder and that. These times, man, struggling to play with Palace right now. No disrespect to Nketiah, but this is where your career can go. Rian Brewster looked like a madman, absolute madman. I thought I had stocks in Rian Brewster. I thought the thing is, I had the stocks of, yeah, I feel like he'd be a decent player moving forward. You know what I mean? Might not be at the top of the top, but he'd definitely be a decent player. Now, man's getting let go by Sheffield United. Football, I promise you, football can move so quickly. You just have to, you got to play it careful. You really have to play it careful. And I think that's where you yourself have to worry about your own development, but also if the managers and the club can kind of help facilitate that. I feel like that's what we can do with Rio. But yeah, with Rio, like I said yesterday, in the for yesterday's game, on that left-hand side, he just looks like a havoc, man. He really, really does. And listen, he's not one of our own. I'm not going to go that far because he actually isn't. He's actually Chelsea's. So we've done well to buy young talent. I will say that in terms of buying someone like Rio. Hopefully, I think we signed in, was it Will Wright? He came off the bench yesterday as well. So hopefully we're heading in that direction, because at the moment in the actual academy in itself coming through, not really much going on. But if we can start buying some of this talent from young, that might be, good for, Liverpool in the future, man. But let's move on to the second game and the second player that I wanted to take a look at. This is a player that I feel, yeah, man, it's just you can see already, but like it's just a player that I feel this season is going to be real interesting. I'm very intrigued to see what people say about said player, and that's obviously Dominic Szoboszlai. So on the game in itself, obviously this was for the second game. For the game in itself, one of the things that I kind of took note from the fans and stuff like that, it will online anyway, fans, is I felt like a lot of people were praising Szoboszlai for a lot of the things that he's always done. The difference is he's doing it from a different position, but in terms of the way that he plays and what people were praising him for, I felt like, but he's always done that though. You know what I mean? Like I never looked at his performance, by the way, and thought he was amazing or anything like that. I didn't. I felt like it was a typical Szoboszlai performance. The difference is being in the position that he obviously played. So he was a little bit deeper this time, as opposed to being the guy further forward. Now, I guess the question I would ask there is, who do you blame in that situation? Do you blame the manager or do you blame the player? I feel like both are culpable for that. Do you know what I mean? In terms of why it maybe didn't look so great, in terms of for Szoboszlai, I guess again, I'm only saying this depending on what people perceive to be the best or not the best. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know everybody's perception of that. For me, I'm like, yeah, I thought Szoboszlai was the most important midfielder Liverpool had last season. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think any different, but I know a lot of people wanted him out of the team. Some people say, no, you got to play this position, that position. So I get it. I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, I didn't see it. I understand, because there were at times, maybe in certain situations, but I felt like his overall performances, I was like, yeah, nothing great, but I never thought any of Liverpool's midfielders really like that anyway last season. I didn't think, oh yeah, this guy's great. And I was like, yeah, they're just calm. They're doing their job. They're doing what they need to do. Nothing too great, nothing too fancy. And we just kind of move, innit? Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those. But what he brings to the team is probably the most noticeable thing when he's not there. Whereas Gravenberch and McAllister last season, I felt like you could have swapped them out with like Jones or Endo, or whoever, Elliott, or whoever you wanted to put in there. I didn't really feel like we were going to miss whatever it was that they bring to the team anyway. Whereas, or let's just put it this way, it wasn't that noticeable what we would miss if they were out of the team. Whereas with Szoboszlai, bro, it was instantaneous. You just understood, oh yeah, Liverpool don't look that great when Szoboszlai's not there because we ain't got no energy now. Who's providing the energy? Now McAllister's trying to do it. Well, if he's doing that, who's doing McAllister's job? And if he's doing that, who's then doing that? Bro, it was just all long. So you get what I'm saying? So I feel like with Szoboszlai, that was kind of really it. Like I said, I know people thought that maybe he might be the one. Who knows? I don't know what Arne Slot's going to do for the season. I'm still convinced Liverpool need to sign a midfielder. I do think that if you want to take your game or take yourselves to the next level, I feel like that is one of the key areas that Liverpool are missing so badly at this moment in time, more so than a centre-back. Liverpool are not missing a starting centre-back. We are missing a starting midfielder, though. That's the difference. We want a centre-back to be a cover. That's cover. I don't need a centre back for the starting 11 because we have that. Van Dijk and Konate, those are the two. I'm good with that. After that, it's just about, obviously we need rotation, and yeah, of course. But that's not important for my first team squad. I'm trying to improve the first team squad. I'm not improving the bench. To improve the bench, you need to buy someone who's better than the person in your first team. That player then moves to the bench. So hence why I want a midfielder. Because if I can get a midfielder in, I think Liverpool will just go 10 notches. Again, I've said this a million times already, but it is what it is. So obviously this was the lineup. So again, like I said, it was a strong team. Mamardashvili in goal. Frimpong, Konate, Endo at centre back. Obviously Van Dijk, I think, was ill or something like that. Kirkes, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch in midfield with Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, and Ekitike up front. Ekitike, good little debut or home debut anyway for Liverpool. From what I saw, again, didn't really see too much of him anyway, but yeah, looked decent, looked all right, looked like kind of quick and all that kind of stuff. I know bare people getting gassed in terms of the way that he was for the goal. I thought that was decent. That was decent. I think, yeah, it was decent. It was decent. I'm not even going to say that it wasn't. It wasn't anything special though. I expected something more. The way everyone spoke about, I thought it was going to be he did like madness, but he just step over and yeah, he just burnt the guy on that left hand side. And really, he wasn't trying to find Salah, but he just flashed the ball across. Salah was on the end of it, and then we kind of move forward with that. But yeah, listen, look, goal to goal. I'm not going to be complaining too tough. But anyways, to Dominic Szoboszlai, that's the player that I really wanted to focus on. Look at the kind of positions he's obviously taken up. As I mentioned before, he's obviously playing a little bit deeper. Will that help him? Most probably. I think it more helps Liverpool in terms of the balance because now he doesn't have to necessarily focus so far forward. He doesn't have to be so concerned with what's happening in that final third, because that's not going to be his job anymore. Obviously, he might find himself in those positions. I'm not saying he won't, but you can see in terms of the heat map, this is where he was picking up the ball. These are the areas of the pitch that he was actually, picking up the ball. And I think when we look, what was starting to happen quite a lot was you would find moments like this within the game. So Frimpong doing, Frimpong stuff. You'd find this. Endo would be there. Konate kind of operating in that kind of, would I say, right back / right centre back, whatever you want to kind of call it. And this was happening quite a lot. You get Kirkes obviously pushing up forward here. What then happens is it's almost like a box right here, kind of like a box anyway, going forward on that left-hand side. So what you would then see, so as I showed you there, you've had Frimpong, obviously he's pushing up far on that right-hand side, obviously to provide the width and also to help out with Mo Salah and Florian Wirtz potentially on that kind of side. What you would then starting to happen is, get lost. What you then start to see happening is like the defense will then start to shift around. So once Frimpong's done that, Konate is then covering in that position. Endo, then he's operating as that central defender. And then Szoboszlai would slot into that kind of left centre back role, because then that would then allow, and there was a moment in the game, and I couldn't get the picture up and I didn't want to get copyrighted anyway, but there was a moment in the game where he shifted into that position and he's telling Kirkes, yo, push forward, you go forward over there and I'm going to slot into your position. And then Liverpool have the three, at the back there. So yeah, it was just something that I kind of noticed in the game. Again, I think the heat map might even potentially, there you go. See, look, the heat map kind of shows you anyway, that was a position that he was operating quite a lot. Is that something that we're going to see moving forward with Dominic Szoboszlai and Arne Slot, which is to allow Kirkes to get himself forward, and then Dominic Szoboszlai is doing what he was kind of doing before, which is helping Trent on one side, but now he's going to be helping, what's his name, Milos Kirkes on that left-hand side. So he's kind of changed, or Arne Slot has kind of changed what it is that he's looking for, from his fullback or from his midfielders and from from the fullbacks, because last time it was Trent go forward. Was it because we didn't feel like Trent could get back? Obviously, we know Frimpong is absolutely rapid, so we know we can get back and help out in defensive transitions and stuff like that. So yeah, there is kind of that side of it potentially. Again, I'm just kind of second guessing, with that. If I'm being honest, but it kind of looks like that would be the obvious kind of thing. And I think especially one thing, and I don't know if Slot mentioned this. I'm not 100% sure. I may have seen quotes about this, but I'm not gonna try and dig through the archives. One thing Liverpool lack right now is creativity. There isn't really like creative. I don't look at Liverpool and think we've got creative players outside, of course, of Mo Salah in that final third. Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz. That's probably the only two I can think of in the entire team when I think about creativity, and I'm like, who would I pick to be creative in this team? Those are probably really the only two players that we've got. The other players can provide creativity through style of play more than them being creative, i.e. Mo Salah doesn't need any, it doesn't matter what style of play you play, Mo Salah will always be creative. Florian Wirtz, the exact same thing. The rest of them, the Frimpongs, the Kirkes, I don't think they're naturally creative. I think they thrive within systems, so they can be creative within that themselves, right? So obviously without Trent, Liverpool have not got a top-notch passer in the team, in my personal opinion. I don't think we possess that level of quality. Now, I'm not even saying Trent quality. I just don't think we have, there's not really, we've got players who can play passes, but not in the way that Trent did. I'll tell you that much. I don't feel really we've got that. Szoboszlai is probably the closest one, if I'm being totally honest with you, in terms of his long range passes. I would have said Van Dijk, but I feel like he's got one pass in his locker. The rest, I'm like, don't really know about all that. The rest of them, they're kind of jimmy jammy. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So I'll say Dominic Szoboszlai. So it makes sense for him to drop into that back line and also try and help with that kind of build up. If Liverpool are then trying to go long, it does kind of make sense that he would be the one to drop in, because I guess he would be a better player in that position than, say, a Gravenberch, as an example. Gravenberch has and did in the game slot into that centre-back role, by the way. He was fitting into there every time, Kirkes or Frimpong would go forward, and it would then be just the Endo and Konate at the back. You saw Gravenberch also, try and help out in those kind of positions. Again, I feel like Liverpool are copying a PSG quite a lot because we see it with Vitinha, we see it with Joao Neves. Those two will always try and drop in every now and again to try and help out with the build-up play, which is absolutely fine. I guess that's what Slot's obviously trying to do as well. But me, I'm just more focusing on Dominic Szoboszlai just because I felt like he had a calm, solid game. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like these kind of games, he will have I think he will just have a lot of these kind of games, but you'll realize how important these kind of games will be for the season, in terms of he may not get you loads of 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, or whatever's out of, when we're doing the ratings, but you'll just notice when this brother's not there. Like I keep saying, you sign someone alongside Dominic Szoboszlai, woo, mad thing. I think Liverpool are then set. I genuinely believe they'd be set. Someone who can just dictate tempo, you've got that. Dominic Szoboszlai, still don't think he can't dictate tempo, in my personal opinion. I think maybe Slot's going to try him there and then, just kind of see how it goes from that kind of point of view. But yeah, that is something that maybe he needs to work on, or whoever's going to be playing in that position. But yeah, in terms of his performance, I thought it was like I said, calm performance. Love the way that he dropped deep into that, into that back line to allow Kirkers to move forward. And is that something that we might potentially see a lot more often moving forward? I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know what you guys think, even just in regards to, the performance in itself from Dominic Szoboszlai and the performance itself from Rio as well. Did you like the positionings that Dominic Szoboszlai was taking up? Do we think that Rio, is doing everything he possibly can to give the manager a little bit of a headache? Let me know your thoughts, of course, in the comment section, people. Love to know. And we'll be back for the the Community Shield final. We'll be back. I think we'll do it on the Monday. We'll do it Monday morning. Hopefully Liverpool obviously get the victory. And then, yeah, we can rap about, the tactics and stuff like that. So I'll catch you guys Monday morning. Make sure you guys are here, and I'll catch you soon.